Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about, well, it doesn't say it right there, but Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. This is available on multiple platforms, but I decided to get it on Xbox Series X, where I had played I played the backwards compatible versions of both of these games. So I'm going to assume that you've probably either played both these games or are kind of familiar with it for this review. If you're not, I'll maybe link those in the description or something, so you can check those out if you want. So you can see if you want to play those games anyway. And this is going to talk more about what this collection does for doing things, changes and whatnot for these, and more about the online, which I couldn't play in the originals back in the day. So, we'll be kind of going over more of that stuff. And, this also is out on things like, I think it's on Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S. It's on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and it's on Steam. It's on Nintendo Switch. It's got a lot of options, a lot of things here. So some look at the new stuff, the online, some of the comparisons, whatever. And then we'll look at see what's really worth you checking it out. I guess that's about it. Yeah, that sounds good. We'll do that. So for the changes here, see if I can kind of remember all of the things here. There's the biggest thing you're going to notice for changes. First off, because like the core gameplay, all that stuff is kind of the same thing. It's all pretty similar stuff like you're used to. But the two biggest things you're going to notice right away are the resolution and the frame rate. The resolution is goes up to like 4K. Lots of stuff has been redone. Like this is basically like these are like remasters. They're not like remakes or anything or reboots. They're just like taking the old assets and cleaning them up a lot. A lot of the visuals will look just like it's much higher resolution too. So it's not just like upscaling it. It's actually like having higher resolution things and whatever, as far as I understand. And it looks good. It's very very crisp, very clear. Some things look a little fuzzy here and there, but it does look very good. And the frame rate is very smooth. It's like at least 60 frames per second, which like you'll notice it looks very smooth. It might even go higher if you have like a PS5 or a Xbox Series X running it. I guess I don't like have a program to like clock all the frames, but I believe it can run at pretty high frame rates. So at least 60. It looks very smooth. And I think particularly I thought the skyboxes looked really good in this. They cleaned those up really well. A lot of the textures will still look. They'll look crisp, they'll look clear, but they still look like very. They look like very high resolution versions of the original textures. So they only do so much with those without replacing them, which is fine. At least for me, I think it's fine. And then there's like some other little changes with some of the way things look. Like in Battlefront 2, for example, they did change. They've like cleaned up the pre-rendered like the movie scenes in there. When they had the movie clips, those looked pretty bad in the originals. And here they don't look like they're Blu-ray quality or anything, but they do look like a lot cleaner and nicer in these versions. So like that's good. Any kind of clips like that they show. They've also changed. I don't know if they've changed the field of view necessarily. I think maybe they did, but they definitely have changed the heads-up display. So like a lot of like UI elements and things, a lot of those are just like they've kind of shrunk some of those down a little bit, so you have more room to just see in front of you. Probably because it's so high resolution that you can see some of that stuff clearly over there. So you just like have more room to like see things, and I think even like your crosshairs and stuff, some that's a little smaller, so you can just see more, which is also helpful. I think the draw distance might be bigger, but again, I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, it's very easy to like see things here. Very very clear, very very easy to see. Visual improvements you'll definitely notice. While audio is pretty much the same. I mean, visuals and audio also have a couple of bugs here and there. Like there are some textures in places that are like kind of weirdly glitching out or missing and things. And lighting can be weird sometimes. And the audio also again has some weird audio glitches sometimes. Sometimes sounds or music just won't play. Sometimes weird sounds that are incorrect or just like a bunch of sounds at once just kind of play out of nowhere, really super loud. It's weird. So there's a few little kinks to work out in some of those areas, but definitely nothing major, and nothing that It's not like the originals were necessarily perfect either. I guess some of these things kind of happen there sometimes too. So it's just kind of weird to see in a remaster that they still haven't fixed it. I guess. Um, Other changes, they changed the result screens a little bit. I mean, just for like some of the UI stuff. Speaking of that, quick. I mean, this is kind of related for like that too. But like a lot of screens, any screen with text basically is what's made me think of this. Any screen with text, it seems like the text hasn't changed its size. So like text just feels really small in like the expanded areas. It just feels like they should have made the text bigger in some spots to fill the areas that they occupy, and a few elements and menus and things are like too small. Like I think the Galactic Conquest planets look like kind of too small in the first Battlefront, and I know like Battlefront 2, when you're selecting your units, they all look like weirdly small compared to what they're like. I don't know if it's just zoomed out more or if they are actually smaller, but they look like too small when you're picking them. So that's kind of a weird thing. Nothing major, but something I noticed. For other differences, there's it does default both of these games to first person view, but you can switch between first and third person view still. And actually, the first Battlefront has just a dedicated button you can map to just be toggling between first person and third person on the fly. I think that's like really cool, especially if you just want to test them out or like, sometimes you might want to do first person for a certain I'm trying to see further this way or something. You might want to switch to that because it's easier to see that way. But you want to see third person to see where you are. Sometimes it's just nice to have the switch there. I think that's actually really nice. And I think they split up the campaign also. I think they split the campaign into the two, the prequels and the originals in the first Battlefront rather than having one campaign just playing through all of them, but it's kind of the same. Another difference you'll notice, though, is that you can have a lot more AI units on the field now as well. That's a big one. You can also have a lot more reinforcements. That's mostly for things like online play and other custom things, but the AI units being out there, you can have just more of them out on the field at once. So I think that's pretty cool because then more things can happen. It's not all focused on just like one area or something. It can be a little more spread out, and there's more. It makes it a little more dynamic that way. And there's I also noticed the AI in the first Battlefront is a lot harder. And maybe that's just a thing. Like maybe the PC version had like way harder AI, and they picked from that. I don't think it's just the fact that there's more of them out there because Battlefront 2, the AI seems kind of the same, even when there's more of them out there. So I really think in the first Battlefront, whatever they did with the AI, when you turn it on to hard, they can see you from pretty far away, and they are really good at not getting shot and really good at shooting you. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's a good thing for replayability and having more of a challenge, but it's actually hard now. And that definitely I had to turn it down for a few things I was doing there because it can get pretty tough. They also have a couple extra options for things here as well. They have a colorblind mode you can turn on. I didn't really think any of those looked. Maybe I'm just used to the way the games look with my kind of colorblindness, so I didn't think any of those helped me really. But it's a cool thing that it has that option there for you. It also has a streamer mode, and I think that just turns off music. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't use it when I played it. I just left it on. So I think it might be something like that to try and help you not get weird copyright issues or anything. But I don't know for sure. I didn't really play around with it. But it is there if if you want it. You also get in these packs all the extra content that you would have. The extra maps and modes you would get for both of these games are included here, which is really cool. There were a few Xbox exclusive things that are just on here, and I believe they're on all versions of them, which is cool. Just have everything. Plus, they've also added in a new thing where in Battlefront 2, you can actually do the whole Jedi assault thing. You can do that on every one of the ground maps, which, in some ways, it's really cool because it gives you, again, more stuff you can do. Downside being that, the AI isn't necessarily designed to do that. So sometimes you'll see them, for example, in the Death Star, a lot of times they'll just kind of, fall off of the edge because they don't understand that they're not supposed to go down bottomless pits like that when they're doing maneuvers. But, it's still a nice option to have, especially for such a, a hectic, crazy party mode anyway. Having more maps to play around with and try different things on, that's always cool. So I think that's a pretty neat change. And just like another nitpick thing though for a change, I will bring up quick is that the in Battlefront One for some reason they've changed with the aim assist stuff. It's really sticky down to the point where if I have the like whatever that I think it's like auto aim and the sticky reticule on, I can't basically once I'm shooting at somebody I can't like disengage from them until they're dead. So if I turn off sticky reticule, then it's okay. But yeah, it's a little much. I think they like, overdid it there a bit for that. Maybe that's just me, but that was my experience with it. But I think yeah, I think that's pretty much all the like differences and changes in there that you have for Battlefront versus Battlefront Two. Are just those are the main like things you can expect for like new and different things in the pack. For it to be to look forward to generally. So the online is a really big component of this, and this was the thing I was really excited to play, which kind of makes me feel like I probably should have got this on, you know, a different system so I could play both handheld like a Steam Deck or Switch, and also play, you know, on the big screen. But I wanted it next to my other Battlefronts. But whatever, I got the online thing. I tried playing some of that. I streamed that actually, and the online experience is, well, it's pretty similar. So you go in and you can select these different servers. Um, and you can create your own server as well. You can change some of the options and things. There are a few dedicated servers, which is good. I noticed that the Battlefront 2 has more dedicated servers than Battlefront 1, but also that kind of makes sense because Battlefront 2 has more modes to play on, so you can do like capture the flag and hunt and space battles, you can do those kinds of things, which again, you can make those things a lot more dynamic with more, actual human players doing things. It's actually pretty interesting to have that in general. These actually do change up the way these battles work. Although I noticed most of those dedicated servers do not have, which makes sense, they don't have auto aim stuff on there, probably because you're also going to be playing with cross-play with people online and things, on PC and like every console or whatever, so they don't want to feel like unfair that way, and that I can understand. But you can turn those things on if you want. There are options. If you make your own room, you can look for other people's rooms that they made and things. You can have way more reinforcements, like I was saying. You can have more reinforcements there. You can have a bunch of AI characters out there. So these battles can be longer. They can be more dynamic. They can be pretty interesting. And it was generally actually pretty fun to do that. I really enjoyed it. The I mean, it still feels a lot like, like playing Battlefront or Battlefront 2. It's just there are some instances where other people are doing things, and they're usually more difficult and less predictable than the AI. And that's really cool. When it works, it's really cool, right? You have people flying around in ships doing interesting stuff, or you have people, going up into weird places that AI units just aren't programmed to go. You have people doing weird maneuvers and things, and it makes it a lot more challenging to actually deal with them. But the problem is that there aren't tons of people playing, so it's hard to have a really dynamic match. I mean, it's cool that you still jump into battles, just have a room going and play with, just the AI out there until other people decide to join the server and start playing. But it's also like, a lot of battles are going to feel like just regular battles playing offline, except no aim assist, and there's lag. There's lag spikes here and there that'll happen. It can be hard sometimes to get things done that way because it just depends on what the latency, whatever is like, the connection speed, whatever is like on your server. And I mean, it's one of those things you just kind of have to deal with. I don't think it's quite the disaster that it was when it first launched that I heard about. But there just aren't that many people playing it, so I'm sure that probably hurt it. So hopefully people start coming back to it now that those things, as far as I'm aware, are mostly fixed. There are still things that probably could use some fixing out here for sure, but there's not like I don't know, there's not like anything that I think it was like super terrible here. Just the lag spikes and some of the other weird audio and visual glitches here and there that would happen. They also did change the. I think I got cut off when I was mentioning this earlier. They changed the result screens on here too, so you can either really quickly just like go to the next match, or you can go check out more things in depth rather than having to click all the way through to get to the end of them. And you can also check out people's profiles and stuff from the results screen like that. So that's kind of a neat thing. Um, but yeah, sometimes the battles just feel really, really long because there's a ton of reinforcements out there, and it's just a slow battle to get everything finished. And that can be kind of annoying. Some battles are going to feel like basically normal battles that you would do if you were playing it offline without the lag or anything like that. And then some battles are just going to be a little unfair because some battles in the original were just set up in a way that just wasn't really that fair. And I mean, that sucks. But like it's true, there were some battles you used to do where it was like, yeah, like if you're on this character's like whatever this side, they're at a disadvantage on this map, but you would be able to overcome it as a human player playing well and doing smart moves and things like that. But with other human players to counteract that, you're just going to be at a disadvantage. You're just probably going to lose. So it does take a little bit of that away. So the online isn't quite as amazing as I was hoping it would be. It's not like bad. I mean, like it can also feel a little unfair when people have all their legendary whatever awards and medals out there, so they just immediately start with a bunch of buffs. But it's not like a huge deal for Battlefront 2 in that. Now, I didn't really notice it being a big issue. It's still going to come down more so to probably your skill and what you're doing most of the time for most of the battles. It's not just about one-on-one fighting people anyway. So I think it still works. But yeah, I was a little underwhelmed with the online aspect of it, sadly. So, Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection, in general, in a nutshell, I think this is good. I still think this is very good. I think that if you haven't played these games before, this is a good pack, right? This allows you to play these in a way that's easily playable on a modern system. You can play it, on the big screen. You can play it on a handheld. You have a lot of options to play. You have the online play. You have all the extra added content, and there's a lot to play here. There's a lot of fun to be had, and these are just great games, anyways. So yeah, it is still fun to play them even now. And I guess the only thing I would really say for like some reservations there is like on the price because it's like $35 I think they want for this, which to keep in mind that is like half the price of a modern game, and you're getting two games for that price, so you can keep that in mind, I guess. But also, I mean, they just kind of remastered these two games, so they don't really have also the other games that are in. There was like at least a PSP and a DS one. I think there might have been a couple on PSP. They don't have any of those in this collection. There's only just these two. So unless they're planning to like remake those in some fashion or make another Battlefront game, or I don't know. But I mean, like it does feel like this is like a collection. It's two. It's a duology. I don't know. Collection feels like a little bit much. Collection makes me think of like a bunch of things. Like check out my awesome Star Wars collection. I have two games. I don't know. It's like technically, yeah. This is not how most people would use it. Anyways, if you already have these games, like the originals, it's still a nice way to play this easily on a modern TV or something. I think that's maybe one draw to it. If you played these a long time ago and you want to, like relive your nostalgia, these are still gonna do it for you, I think. And I think that like if you're new to it and you want to play these, I think these will still be really fun. Even if some of the textures and things look a bit dated, it's still really fun. And I think that if you have the Xbox versions or the backwards compatible versions or whatever of these two games, the only thing you're really missing, I feel like, I mean, aside from some of the nicer looking visuals, is that you're I guess like in frame rates or whatever. The only real thing you're missing is the online. I feel like for the most part, that's the only thing you really miss. And those, I believe those are cheaper, especially if you get them on sale or something. They could be cheaper than these. So like, if you already own both of these on Xbox, it's probably not worth getting this on Xbox at least. I would say at least get it on like a Steam Deck or a Switch or something so you can play it handheld. So you're getting something a little bit more than just mostly the same thing again. But it's still, it's still a good pack to have. I never did do the register thing. It says register your game. Never did it. Could still play online. In case you're curious, you don't have to do it. What does it do? I don't know. But you don't need it. So who cares? And yeah, basically I'm saying these games are fun. I still like them, even though I just got finished playing them not that long ago. It was still fun to play them again. I like the online play as an option. I like the extra content that you get here, and I mean, would I play this over the original ones? I don't know. For me, probably mostly just if I'm going to play online. But I am really glad that these exist. I'm glad it's an option. I'm glad that it's something for more people can play and in more ways. And I think that's good. And I guess what do you guys think? Um, if you're here and you actually already have the game and you're just looking at this review to see what people think about it, like what do you think? How do you think this stacks up to the original games? That would be interesting to hear. What you like better about the different versions and things. I'd be curious to hear about that. And would you like to see a Star Wars Battlefront 3 or a new Star Wars Battlefront reboot thing? I mean, like, what do you think? What do you think they could do for more games like this? And do you want to see a pack of like those other missing Battlefront games, remastered in some way or rebooted or whatever, remade? Be fun to have some of those thoughts and discussions in the comments if you want. And yeah, it is kind of this definitely. It definitely is weird to think like these is like first Battlefront came out like 20 years ago. Doesn't feel like it. Doesn't feel like it, does it? Sorry, I'm just having a moment to reflect on the fact that I'm old now. I mean, like, not old for like real life, but like internet old. Like you're on the internet and you're like somebody has like like, oh, you're like, how old are you? And you're like, I was alive before Pokemon. And they're like, okay, Grandpa. And it's like, no, I'm look, I am not. You can't call me Grandpa, okay? Because I don't have kids. I don't have grandkids nor kids. I haven't even had sex. So that makes you look like an idiot.